So, hey all, I'm Max. I'll be talking about OBIII, or the actual full name, OBSPOT 3. So, a little bit about myself first. I'm Max. I'm doing a BSMS, math minor. It's my last semester. I was a previous vice president as well as tech lead of RITSec. I do a whole bunch of security engineering, ops, pen testing, a bunch of stuff. Currently work at Akamai full time for the semester, and then come February, I'll be full time at Datadog. So, Obi, a lot of people just see it as that little funny, goofy guy in the server. A lot of people don't know it's actually completely open source and always actively looking for contributions. We have a little mentorship group going on right now that's actually doing exactly that. So if you're ever curious to see, hey, what is that guy doing on the back end? What does he look like? How do I potentially break it and tell Max how to fix it? And that's the way. So, but in the actual server, do not break OB. Just tell us what you think might be vulnerable, and I'll check it out. So OB, as you might have guessed, is the third iteration of the OBSPOT. Hopefully here to stay. It's been a long road, but I think we finally have something pretty stable. And overall, from the beginning, OBSPOT was supposed to handle all the administratia. So if you know this, because I think I'm the one who phased it out, and I don't think there's many people that were here before I phased it out, but all sign-ins used to be a Google form. So every time you went to any RITSec event, there would be a little QR code for you to sign in a Google form, and you have to put in your name and year and everything just to sign in. Next off, OB, one of the biggest improvements, it's written in Golang. We'll talk about why that's important later. And just to repeat again, always actively looking for maintainers. We can kind of see some of the stuff it does. Still a little bit untested, but we do have voting. Hopefully, we'll get to test it out soon. But a whole bunch of stuff. It just handles the entire server, generally. So here's the OB lore. So I came in, when I was tech lead, I made OBIII. It was built in Python 3. It's actually still open source, but on our GitLab, so a lot less accessible. I learned that the hard way because no one would even take a look at it, because who's going to remember gitlab.ritsec.cloud/operationsprogram/OBSPOT2? So no one ever did anything. But the main improvements here were that we were able to do sign-ins, voting. We used to have the same exact Google Forms. We then have to pull down all the data from those Google Forms, parse out who is a member, who is not. We'd have to somehow link that to another Google form in order to tell who was who and who is a valid voter. And then in another Google form, we would then have to collect votes. So voting process used to be even longer. Just calculating votes used to take 5 to 10 minutes on its own once it was completed. So we fixed a lot. Logging, the first OBSPOT had it, and it was literally like shit's broke or shit's not broke. So we made huge improvements there, having a full logging stack built into our bot. The kudos command, as well as status command, or status. So when you see OBs watching IPSec or something like that, that kind of stuff. Ultimately, what brought me to rewriting it was structural issues. When I originally wrote OB2 or OBSPOT 2, it was incredibly unstable. It was in Python. I actually had no idea how to use databases, so I just kind of wrote my own. It was not SQL injectable, but it was disgusting to edit anything. And a little fun fact, if you ever changed your name in the Discord, it would break your sign-ins because I was indexing by username and not user ID, which has been fixed. And also slash commands. We love slash commands. Before slash commands, everything was a message. So the slash member used to be dot member, where you just send it in a channel. And there was no way to make that private. You just sent dot member to the bot, and it would handle everything for you. So a lot of people would just randomly put dots and some kind of command that they think existed and throw it in. And then finally, OBSPOT 1. I forget when it was originally created. it's closed source for your own protection. Had issues like it used to use YAML as its entire database. So it was a YAML safe open and safe close to update anything. There was like several vulnerabilities in it. And it was built because the original creator just wanted to be able to edit and change things very easily. Did not survive the years. So some of the things I came out with was like the .member command, flag, angry redirects, and shitposts, as well as OBIII. Those are kind of the shitposty stuff that still exists in the bot today. Test them out, figure out what they do. If you're ever curious, yeah. But it was always breaking. While I was on eBoard working with the bot, it would like legitimately be mostly manual verifications because the actual verification never worked. And that's really all the administrative that it took care of. So what were the improvements that we saw with OBIII? First off, code quality. I sucked at code when I wrote OBIII2, and OBIII was much worse. Overall speed and handling, because of Go, improved drastically. We then began to see slash commands and modals. For those of you that don't know what modals are, if you ever, when you're doing the slash member or the feedback form, which slash feedback, drop that and it'll actually send it to a channel in the eBoard chat for them to discuss. But yeah, this little pop-up that says like, oh, what do you want to enter? That's called a modal. That's actually pretty universal that definition. So anytime something pops up on a website, that's considered a modal. A little fun fact. Also, we moved all the databases to an ORM solution called Ent. If you don't know Ent and you use Golang, you should be using Ent. It is by far the best package I've ever used. And it just handles all database, so you can pretty much never cause SQL injection. It's like impossible. Golang, of course, is statically typed, compiled. It's easily, extremely stable. And also, if you ever decide to become an OBIII maintainer or developer, you get a little access to a staging server that has pretty much everything that OBIII has. But you can just like not care about bothering about roles or anything like that. You're instant admin, and you get to see everything. Finally, enhanced logging. We started pushing uptime to uptime Kuma so we can have our little status.ritsec.cloud page. And then Datadog automatically collects all our logs as well as traces. So every time you submit a little slash command, we actually get a flag graph of all the different, I don't know how to say it, all the different commands it runs, timings on them, even like resource utilization. We can see whenever a command's run. It helps a ton when debugging anything. And some of the new features built scoreboard. That was pretty recent. I didn't want to do work at Brick City, so I wrote that. If you don't know what that is, run that and you'll see. Feedback, that's brand new. Query, this is a little, if you ever become an IPIG lead, you get access to this. It lets you see your stats for your IPIG, or just IG now, sorry, I'm a boomer talking. As well as update. OBIII is CI/CD enabled. So whenever you push an update to the main branch, it will wait until 2 a.m., check if there's an update, and automatically update. So there's no need to go on the box to redeploy and fix this or fix that. It all does it on its own. So let's start talking about the technical stuff. I'll try not. I'm going to give like a general Go overview on how it's constructed and kind of explain some stuff. But this will be a bit technical, as you can imagine. So starting off with some Discord terminology, a bot is actually just considered a Discord application. As you can see with all those little checkboxes, only one of them says bot. There are so many different kinds of applications that you can use, and they all generally inherit towards something called a bot, but it's not specifically a bot. It's just a scope that an application can have. So you can have a ton of stuff. You can even do like a WAF as Discord. Event. This is pretty much anything that happens in a server. Discord is a little snitch. Pretty much anything you ever do in a server, the bot will just get a little message saying, oh, hey, this person did this, and this person did this, and all that. And that's how we'll end up handling commands, is that we get those massive, pretty much like log of everything that happens. These can be anything from like a member joining, a reaction being added, bulk message deletes. There's a whole bunch of different, I guess, enums for what's happening. And then lastly, another one, components. Pretty much anything that attaches to a message, you see them as buttons on the vote command. There's like multi-selects, there's action rows, embeds are technically components, bunch of stuff. And modals. So we talked about this before, but those pop-ups, those are actually, might be wrong. They're considered components, but they're a different subset of components. They even have their own data handling and different API requests for them on the back end. But yeah, we can see all the different things. So let's start with that basic, let's start with slash commands. This allows extremely customizable and rigid interactions with Discord bots. You can have, I don't think it's unlimited parameters, but I've been able to use like upwards of like 15. So it gets pretty, it handles it pretty well. There's two main components to the slash command. The actual command itself, which is pretty much just like a header that you send to Discord. You say, hey, this slash command is called ping, and ping takes 3 arguments, a name, a number, and something else, and they have these descriptions. It doesn't tell you any way to actually run ping, but just says, hey, this exists. Then what the Discord bot actually does is the handler. So whenever someone runs that ping commands, Discord will send your bot, say, hey, someone ran this command with these arguments you specified. Handle it. I don't care anymore. So generally these steps become, you register your command with Discord, you wait for its use, you route it to the correct function, and then that allows you to handle it. So if we're looking at, probably should have made this a little bit larger, but we go from the bot where, so the laser pointer, yeah, let's go. We go from the bot where we register some commands. We then wait until it's executed. A user at some point runs that command, Discord sends it to the bot. The bot finds what command you should be using, and then you respond to it all the way back to the user. And then as soon as your bot dies, all the commands that went along with it will also be unregistered. So what does one look like? This is our ping command. It's pretty short in terms of slash commands, but I'll be breaking it up for you. So first, we have our little header. How do we describe a ping command? We have, what we're going to be sending is an application command. So this is just a struct provided by Discord Go, which is what we write OBIII in. And then finally, our actual handler. So this is like the command part we talked about first, what we're sending to Discord to say, hey, this is what we're doing. And then finally, our handler, which takes a session. So what our actual bot just gets past a session. So we have full access to send, receive, whatever. And then interaction create. Interactions are those little, we run a command and it said, oh, someone ran this command. That's that. And that's how you're actually able to directly interface with a user. Next, we see that application command. This is like the header. You see like a name ping, description pong, and we also can provide member permissions. Next, we go to the what I call like the function start of the actual ping command. So again, we see the same session and interaction being passed, and we're gonna for Datadog's handling, we create a span, as well as we defer the span to finish. So as soon as the function closes, the span will finish, and this will let us do more verbose logging. It's just something that most people don't have to know, but it exists. We then, using our own custom logging stack that Discord uses, we created the debug message. We say, hey, this person ran this command, and we finally respond to the interaction. This s.interaction respond, we're taking this session, we're replying to the interaction we were provided with, and finally we will provide our response. Where here we're going to be including the source, and then in terms of data, it'll have the content on, and then these flags are little things that you can do to modify it. Message flags ephemeral just means that only you can see that response, and it won't like be there forever. And finally, you handle errors. Hey, this broke, or hey, this didn't. Okay, next, event handlers. We talked about it before that Discord is just a big old snitch, and will just send you absolutely everything that ever happens in the server, no matter what. This allows for Discord bots to respond to like non/command events. So when someone sends a message, for instance, or joins the server. So Discord bot provides all those events anytime anything happens. And whenever we're handling it, we just listen for those events and then route those events to wherever they need to go. Yeah, fun fact, you can mess up a lot of handlers if you get in a loop. So if, say you're handling all messages that a Discord bot sends, but it sends a message on its own message, Discord will send you alerts that you sent your own message, and then you can respond to those alerts and cause a big old recursive loop. Fun fact. In terms of how this runs, exactly how we described, we pretty much wait until someone sends something. So we have a Discord user here send something in a channel. Discord says, oh, this person said this. We don't care about them, so we just say ignore. Didn't ask. Second Discord user sends it. We get it back on our bot, and the bot actually says, actually, this is something I want to respond to. We send it to the handler, and we send our response all the way through. So this is what the Angry React handler actually looks like. We'll start talking about it. Here we're providing the session as well as message create. So we'll be receiving this anytime that someone creates a message. We check and see, hey, does me this first line, we'll just check if the bot is who's sending it. If yourself is the same as who sent it, kinda. Next, we have to check whether we should even be responding to it. Is it in a shitpost channel? So for here, we do a load query. We take the channel ID that Discord told us. We create it. We make it into an actual channel. We resolve that channel, and we say, hey, does the name of it actually have shitpost in it? Then we can actually handle the real stuff. So again, the span stuff that we talked about before. And then we have message reaction add. This adds a reaction, if you can imagine. We provide the channel, the ID of the message, as well as the ID of the emoji. Everything in Discord is IDs. And they're all exactly the same looking, so you never know what you're exactly looking at. There's IDs for servers, users, emojis, /commit, absolutely everything is an ID. And then finally, we respond to all, oh, that's a forward commit. We respond to all this and take care of it. You know how to use Angry React now. Schedule events. Citation, I made it up. These don't exist. I pretty much just, when the Discord bot starts running, I say, here's a session, do whatever the hell you want with it. So this isn't something intrinsically built into the Discord bot API spec. I built it. So yeah, we open that active session, and we provided a quit channel so that anytime we close a bot, we can confidently say everything closed properly. Yeah, in terms of Golang, 2 important things that you should be using is, that's the one, cron scheduler. So rob config cron, you can pretty much just create scheduled channels, or sorry, scheduled events using cron. So you don't have to handle any kind of timing. You just say, hey, on this cron, take care of this. And the others are tickers. Tickers pretty much will just send a message every single time that, or every interval that you specify. And then in terms of how it looks, exactly how I described. As soon as the bot starts, bot says it's online, and we start the scheduled event. For whatever reason, we want to send a message into shitposting. We just wait until whatever elapses, we send it, and when the bot says, I'm actually going to go to sleep now, it'll send a quit channel to that extra thread, and the bot goes offline. So very large one, this is the good food one. These commands get pretty long. The member command is actually upwards of 1,100 lines. They get pretty in-depth. So here we're just providing the session and the quit channel. We then, because we're using cron, we want to make sure that we're actually in the correct time zone, and we create a cron entity with that. Then, it looks like a lot of code, but it's really not. We just provide something to handle our errors up here, and we say on this instance, which this is 11 a.m. on a Monday, and you can see all of them specified. So all that, if you ever want to edit the good food pings, you have everything templated, and you just need to provide where it is at that time. So all these are just those cron entities. In terms of setting the actual good food ping, we have everything that it takes, including the CTX DD trace span context. All that is for Datadog to know what is actually happening. Yep. And then finally, we send the message. It's pretty simple. We just generate it. We have an @ role in it, and it looks like how we see it. Finally, before everything ends, we make sure to actually start those cron entities, wait for a quit signal, and anytime we see that quit signal, we stop and exit the function. What's up?
What is the function thing check?
Yeah, so if you go into role join, there's a good food role, and it will ping the channel and at that role and say good food is here at Brick City or whatever it is, and it pretty much lets everyone know that P House is here. Joe is the original creator for this. I ported it over to, yeah, actually only contribution by not me. Good food, good food. That was in OBIII, and now it's in OBIII.
So like to get like the data, like whether it's, is that just like a statically, it's like a statically into the schedule?
Yeah, so we just set up the
Or just like update like whether they change like the schedule on the dining website.
I tried looking into trying to get it from the dining website. For whatever reason, the dining website does not cover Crossroads, so I couldn't do that. So this is just all manually entered. So you actually see, based on semester, people in the Good Food channel will be like, your bot's wrong, fuck you. And we'll get a new schedule there. So yeah, we just manually set up everything, so when these change, did it just say it up there? Yeah.
They're yelling at me.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, some advanced topics. We talked about OB modularity, or I guess we know how scheduled events work. Now let's talk about OB itself. So OB is built to be super plug and play. Anytime you define a command handler or scheduled events, there's actually this little enabled.go in your commands directory where you can just comment and comment out your entire command. So if for whatever reason someone's abusing a command or a handler, whatever it is, you comment it and you rerun everything and it no longer exists. So an easy way to handle that. CI/CD, we talked about it a little bit before with the update, but we are with OB3, we continuously check, audit, and deploy code. So GitHub Actions, anything that gets merged into main first has to pass all our checks. We can actually see it all here, where we're checking code, we're making sure that it can compile, we're running unit tests, even though OB doesn't have unit tests. A little fun fact for hopefully someone, as in me, does that later. And then we run this Golang CI lint, which will pretty much tell me if I made any blatant mistakes that I'm just not catching. Like, I never handle an error or something like that. And then the /update command, there's a manual way to do it where you can do /update and it will, based on your / command, update the code and fix it. Also, we just have a scheduled event that runs 2 a.m. to do the exact same thing the /update does. Lastly, ent. If you ever talk to me, I cannot tell you how much I love ent. It's a Golang ORM. You pretty much define like a schema here. So right here, we're describing a user. This is the actual Golang ent. So we define a user. We say a user has a field ID, email, has verification attempts, and is a Boolean whether it's verified. Cool. And then we also can define edges because fields should be able to relate to other fields. So we have an edge to sign-ins, votes, and shitposts for the scoreboard. And now we have a connection between all our entities, it automatically builds all the schema. You can generate all the code, so everything is very, it just makes sense. And it's just really cool. It also is completely, what is it? It works with any SQL provider. So MySQL, SQLite, Postgres, local, whether you want to run it locally or remotely, it just, you provide it a target and it'll just run it. Also, there's no such thing as prepared statements anymore. You don't have to write select here from there. You just write out Go code and it performs everything for you. Also, it handles pretty much all SQL injection unless you want to blatantly make something not proper. And also, if you ever add a new field or change how a field is supposed to be built, it will auto-migrate all those changes when you start the code again. So, yeah. Forget what I actually did with this. But yeah, we talked about the schema, and it looks super simple when we're actually running this. We're going to be querying a user, client.query. What user? Oh, where user ID is equal to this ID. Okay, well, what do you want from that? Oh, I want to check if it exists. And it returns you a Boolean. Oh, you want to query a user, but you actually want to get the user this time? Do the same exact thing, but there's this only keyword that says, I only want one user back. Or user doesn't exist, and we need to create it. Well, client user create, set ID, ID of the user, and save it to the database. And right there's 3 SQL statements that you have to write out and template and create prepared statements for, but it just works. And you don't have to write any SQL. Oh yeah, I should have just shown this. Sorry, I had that slide. This has all been a shill for I need maintainers. I graduate this semester, and OB is pretty stable, but eBoard is getting mad and Ops is getting mad that no one will officially maintain it. Yeah, but please reach out if you're at all interested. I can set you up. I can set you up with everything. Roles for the GitHub itself will come from eBoard, but I will tell you literally anything you need to know about OB, and I'll continue to help with everything once I graduate. But this is a student-run club. I just say like that. It's not alumni run. I believe in you all. So reach out if you have any questions. If you want to start maintaining, and I just said questions, but questions. Oh no.
I was going to say, what inspired you to start working on it?
Oh, I was the one who had to deal with a lot of that administratia. So I'd see people like before elections, there was legitimately like a 4 to 5 hour testing period to see whether the actual ranked choice voting worked. I'm like, why can't we just do this automatically? We're not, or like, I can't. We're not like in the dark ages. Like, let's just integrate it all. Like, why are we like spending all this time worrying about whether something works? Why not just cut it out? And I think it's worked pretty well. That's all.
How do you depends on the...
Oh, there's a lot of Discord bot C2s. And a little / command reboot a system. Why not? There's Discord itself is your C2 server, and all your agents just call back to it as a bot. There's so many that do this. I actually wrote one in Rust that does this, and it's my only Rust project, and will probably be my only Rust project.
Like, how could this be used offensively? Is just a scoreboard outside when they say something wrong?
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen, check out /scoreboard. I'd like to stay there, but I'm currently second on the scoreboard. Anthony is not on it, which is a notable information. Yeah. Any other questions? Cool. I've probably talked way too much, and I apologize for taking too much time if I did. Oh, question.
what kind of experience do you have that you want to work on?
Honestly, I think this was one of my projects that made me good at Go. General programming experience, just know like, hey, what's a variable and stuff like that. Most of what you'll be doing is you're like, oh, I need a command that will like take in this input and send that output. And you'll have to look at the docs a bit to figure it out, but everything is pretty logistically sane. There's nothing that's like out of the ordinary, like, oh, why does this not work? I've abstracted almost all of it. So yeah, awesome. Yeah, I know there's two more presenters, so I'll cut myself off here. But thank you everyone.